take your hands today to your belly without judgment. Let your hands rest on your stomach and let your stomach be mobile today. As you inhale, allow your abdominal wall to relax outward, making room for your diaphragm to drop down as your lungs expand in with air. And as you exhale, imagine your pelvic floor coming together and lifting up. And your belly button slowly draws into your spine as you exhale. And that presses the oxygen up and out. Inhale, let it spread. Imagining that air comes down, fills your lungs, presses out into a relaxed diaphragm, and expands through all of the tissues inside of your torso, down to your root. And then when you're ready to exhale, starting from the pelvic floor, drawing in the belly, pressing the air out and up. Allowing yourself to be free and mobile in your belly, letting your intestines relax. Having honor and respect for your whole digestive system and letting it be nourished by that oxygen we're bringing into the body. And when you're ready, let your next inhale spread your wings up to the side. And exhale down center. Drawing those hands down the center line. Just take a moment, maybe even close your eyes and visualize that light. Inhaling up, and go ahead and sigh over to your right side. And imagine that center line bending with you. And take a moment and poke your head like a silly pigeon. Ooh. And then draw your chin back to the same plane that your shoulders and hips are on. And let's circle that arm. Exhale, opening the chest and shoulder. Inhale, up the back. Exhale, open. Inhale, up front. And coming up and over. As your left hand goes down to the floor, take a glance at it. Make sure it is to the side of your hip, not to the side of your knee or behind the body. Both of those things would twist you. So we want to be on one plane here. Bending that center line. Big breath in and circle the arm. Really radiate through that arm. Feeling the side body, the armpit, the pectoral muscle, and the shoulder, neck, all get a stretch as you circle. Even though we're bent to the side here, both hips are still firmly on the ground. Go ahead and come back up to that center line. Drop those elbows in and down behind you, and we're going to center by bringing our shoulder blades back together and our elbows towards each other. So we're not sagging out here, even though this is usually where our bodies go to right away. Yeah, everything's pulled back in together, and then we're going to lever up the rib cage, spreading and making room underneath your rib cage. And today, let your shoulders rise up to meet your neck. And really relax your neck on the top of your trapezius muscle. My wrists are getting a stretch here. And I'm trying to pull my shoulder blades back together, my elbows together, even though I'm allowing breath in. Pull your belly button to your spine first, then your chin to your chest. And that helps you rise up with a nice long spine. Exhale, switch your legs by rocking back. Big breath in. Float on down to the front. Inhale up halfway. Find your diagonal spine. Big breath in, radiate. Exhale, anchor down center line. Draw your belly in and your shoulder blades in together. And then I like to press my knees out and down into the mat for support. Yeah, so support is to spread my thighs down, radiate my arms up. Look at us doing all these things at once. And center gathers it all together. So you're both expanding and contracting at the same time. There's our counterbalancing. Big breath in. Slowly pan over your right leg and find that center again. So I'm drawing my belly in to help keep my weight over my legs. Big breath in. And I'm going to exhale, I'm going to let it all the way down and just relax my torso onto that right thigh. Big deep breaths. Creeping your fingers a little bit further. Big opener in the side back body and down to that hip. Now I know your left hip wants to pop up off the floor here. But let it be sinking down to the earth, making space between your shoulder and your hip. Inhale out, pan over to the left side, hover there, feel your core squeezing in and your shoulders anchor down, and how holding that center allows you to lean out a little bit more because you're so strong and anchored into yourself. So many metaphors for life, right? If you're strong in yourself, you actually have more freedom to radiate out. And relax over your left thigh. See if you can let your head go without losing that hip. And before you rise up, gather first your pelvic floor, then your belly lock, then your chin and shoulders bring you up into that diagonal, panning center, rising up, and let your hands come down behind you. Spread the hips again. This time, if it feels good, go ahead and lift those pelvises. Let those hips come down to the mat and bring your thighs together. Go ahead and place your hands on the outside of your knees and press out fiercely with those legs. Press into your hands. Create that tension and heat. I don't use Sanskrit words very often because I'm always embarrassed to get them wrong. But one of my favorite is tapas, which is not just the Spanish word for delicious small bites, but also in yoga is the word for an internal fire. Easy to remember that way. So switch your hands from the inside, from outside to inside, and squeeze your thighs together and create an internal fire, both with your adductors in your thigh, your inner thigh muscles, and also let's take a big breath in and let's center, drawing our belly in and our pelvic floor in. So we're hollowing out, squeezing inward. And release. Whoosh. Let's curl the body down, 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 and rise, and down, down, down. Now, to our theme today, normally we do this with a little bit of space, yes? But today we're going to pull our legs all the way together, or if you have a brick around, also do it with a brick or anything at all that is around a fist distance. You can squeeze that brick. In fact, guys, I think that would be a pretty cool prop. If you have a pillow, if you have a, what else might work? A really hard loaf of bread. Although that would get your mat a little crummy. Your brick, squeeze 2 fists. If you have not got a brick, you definitely have 2 fists. Okay, I guess you don't definitely have 2 fists, but you probably have 2 fists. Squeeze those hands together and rock back. Take your toes off the ground. You should be behind your tailbone, so you're curled underneath. And release. Legs together. Bend them as you forward fold. Take a breath here, and then we're going to continue this into a flow. Alright, one more breath in. Ripple through that torso. Exhale, lean it out. Inhale, draw it up. Squeeze those legs together. Roll all the way down to the mat. Curling in. And stretch your chest up. Wiggle your hands and your toes and let it feel delicious, like you just woke up after a really long night's sleep. Not 2 hours early because your baby woke up early. Curl, rise up and inhale. And just right here. Now it's okay if your knees need to be a little bent. I'd love to see that straight back instead. But squeeze those legs together, friends. Big breath in. Center your shoulder blades down and together. We are creating internal heat here, yes? So this is not a slouchy position. Looks like we're doing very little, but instead we're going to set ourselves on fire. Squeezing those legs all the way together. Anchor your shoulders down. Pulling your belly in deeply. Getting a little bit taller. Squeezing your legs together. Anchor your shoulders down. Flex your feet and spread your toes out like your toes are only 10 years old. Rib cage down. More abs. Create that heat, get taller. And exhale, soften everything, bend forward fold. Big breath here, let it go. Inhale, roll it up part way. Bend those knees for realsies. And let's come to our squat. Yes. Go ahead and squeeze those legs together here in the squat. If you can get your heels all the way close together today, that's great. It's all right if there's a little space, but I want you to get rid of your thigh gap. Squeeze them in. Center your thighs. Squeeze them in. So if your weight is back right now, your heels are reaching towards the floor and you'll feel a stretch in your calves, maybe the soles of your feet. That's great. While we're here, keep squeezing those legs back together. I know they want to drift. Go ahead and rock gently forward and push off on the hands. So we're going to warm up our hands. Yeah? Down through the fingertips and push off. And I'm going down through the fingertips and then bringing my knuckles together, pushing off. Elbows are in against the body. Squeezing in. Pelvic floor lifts up. Belly button in. Creating heat. Shoulders back. Just taking a little inventory as I work here. What can I feel? Can I feel the tips of my shoulder blades? Can I anchor them back in? Oops, did I lose my thighs? Yes. Pull them back in. And gently from there into your forward fold. Legs together. Lift your heels a little bit off the floor. Bend your knees. Thighs together and drape your chest downward. Heels are lifted, thighs are together. Pelvic floor is lifted. Exhale, drop the hips and heels into the earth. Bend your knees some more, squeeze those legs together. Rise up into your awkward chair, squeezing the legs together. Draw the belly button back and in. Anchor your shoulders down. Squeeze together. And now bring your hands all the way together. And soften, rise up. Come to standing mountain pose with your hands in namaste and drop your shoulders down. Find your breath. Close your eyes. Imagine your body. Imagine that center line. We're going to go through our sun salutations, starting with the left foot back, just like we normally do, but the attention today is, of course, bringing it back to center over and over again in every way that we can. Big breath in, we'll go up. Draw your center line. Soften those knees, find your belly button, thighs all the way together. Inhale, rise. Open your chest. And looking up. Anchoring your shoulders, centering your shoulders, pulling that belly button in. Temptation here is to stick your booty out and arch through the upper waist. I want you to reach up through from the bottom of your torso. Big breath, rise up. And find flat back. Forward fold. How are your legs? Are they together? Inhale, rise. Exhale, come down. If you have a brick and you're using it, you can step back left leg with your hands on your brick. All right, now it's time for that center line to get clearly painted in your mind. Whoosh, yeah? Pane of glass right between. Squeeze your thighs towards that center line. Remember that feeling of creating active heat to help us. We're gonna use that, squeeze it in. As you warm yourself up, you can rock slowly back and forth. And I use this mostly just to test whether my front knee has passed my ankle at all. And if it has, if my knee is above my toes, then I know that it's time to scooch that back foot back so that the front of my shin is vertical. Squeezing in, supporting down to rise up into your high lunge. Raise those hands up. We've been doing a lot of our lunges with our arms parallel, but today we're going to hold our hands together. It will be surprisingly challenging. Squeeze that center line with your thighs and feet and release, and squeeze and release. And notice what that does to your hips. I'm going to face front for a second. Squeeze and release and squeeze, and notice how that action of squeezing squares your hips and release. One more time, squeeze, square. All right, taking those hands out around behind you, we're going to touch fingertips in the back if you can. Yeah? Just try and touch them. Squeeze your thighs together, lift up through that long torso, and reach your head forward. Squeeze that center line with your thighs. Try and squeeze your fingertips to touching, and hands to the floor. Let your back knee down. Curl your chest, curl your torso back for a stretch of the hamstring. And I want you to just take this moment to feel yourself lift in the belly here, yeah? So really hollowing out that core, rounding the back. We're gonna take that rounded back feeling and shift it back forward. If you have bricks, if you have 2 bricks, you can do this on 2 bricks, but I want you to try and curl your body up and away in this low lunge feeling. So use your abs to lift and curl. Yeah? That is the secret way to sneak your foot underneath. Find your plank or modified plank, your choice. Lift down behind you. Where are those feet? Mine are usually as wide as my hips. Can we bring them all the way together today? Good. Squeeze it in. Elbows back, heart forward, passing through chaturanga to the floor. Keep your legs closing together as you come up into your baby cobra, lifting from the base of your spine, not just from your ribs. And settle back down. Double check those legs back together as you press up into your downward dog. All right, friends. Step wide. Wide as your hips, as wide as your mat. Let's shift one side to the other.
Letting your weight go to your right leg, and your left leg, and your right leg. And then pull those feet all the way together. Feel your thighs touch. And then slide up that plate of glass that is your center line. And let that leg explore a little bit today. Now let's all make our standing legs soft. So we're bending the standing leg knee. We're going to draw in our core. And we're going to just experiment with the other leg, yeah? Let your hips wiggle around. Be gentle because we're not all hot and warm and stretched out yet. And then I want you to take your leg back. Stretch it behind you but low. And squeeze against the center. Looking down between yourself. And you'll see nice show. Maybe not, maybe something on my back. I would like it so that when you are looking underneath yourself here, you don't see a gap between your legs. This is my standing legs. But instead you see the silhouette of the two legs meeting while you're looking underneath yourself in this pose. Yeah? And if your two legs are meeting and you're squeezing towards that center line, that should also square your hips. It's totally going to take you onto your back to feel that. That was helpful. Alright, exhale. Thighs come together. Inhale. Curve your back like you just practiced. Tuck your nose and your knee together. Exhale. Thighs together. Inhale, lift it up. I call this slow the pendulum. Exhale, thighs together. Inhale, tuck it, shift it forward. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. You'll notice my heel rises also when I come to the very front. And that's part of training myself to lift up, to step that left leg through. Take your time. Find center. Shifting gently right and back and front. Squeeze that center line to rise up. Arms rise up and hands together today. Exhale, sink the back leg down. Squeeze that center line. Find your breath. Squeeze that center line. Press your hands a little bit together. And reach it forward. Keep squeezing the center line as you travel forward. Back foot is your spring. Step together to your awkward chair. Hands together, lift up, sit back. Gather your abdominal wall, shoulder blades back. And down to your forward fold. Let it go. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale. And rise. Hands to namaste. Big breath in. Open your hands behind yourself. Grab hands behind yourself. And let's hold hands and take the top of our thumbs into the sacrum. Yeah? Tuck your sacrum underneath and curve your lower back on top of it, lengthening, and then squeeze those shoulders and elbows back. Chin comes in to make like 16 chins, yeah. And rise up. And we'll start right leg back. Find flat back. Anchor your shoulders back, take your arms back. Lift in that belly, lower the knees, and slide your arms forward to awkward chair, hands together. Your booty's probably got left out behind you, so re-engage your core so you have a super flat back. And fingertips can touch as you step back with your right foot. Rock it. Immediately finding that center line. Squeeze those thighs towards your center line.
support into the ground to rise up. Hands touch. Keep winding that right leg towards the center. Arms around behind you. Touch the fingers as much as you can. And lengthen your head towards the front. Squeeze that center line. Shoulder blades anchoring together. And find the floor. Curl up. You can put your back knee down and really find that curled lower back. So feel it like a cat-cow position. Lean back a little bit, letting your front leg hamstring stretch while you're curled. Really pulling the belly into the spine. Shift forward with that curved belly. Lift up. Push the floor away to sneak your leg back. Legs all the way together for today's plank. Shoulders back. Abdominal wall anchored in. Everything's brought together. Find chaturanga and pass slowly through to the floor and take a break on the floor, doing nothing. Be a flop. Floppity flop, 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 flop. Notice. Just close your eyes and take inventory. Where does your body go when you just flop? For example, I noticed that my right knee turned in. My ankles spread out wide. Yeah? Big breath in, gather up your pelvic floor, and then your belly rock. Then draw those legs together. Tighten it. Supple lift of your abdomen, engage your glutes. Shoulder blades come back, lifting your chest. Hands by your rib cage. Chin centers in to come to your cobra variation, yes? So baby cobra would be your shoulders are up, but the bottom of your ribs are down. So you can choose this bust up whenever we're here. So today we're keeping our legs together, remember? Yeah, so baby cobra is up to your ribs. Keep drawing your belly button in. Cobra is arms are extended but your hips are still down. Upward dog is when we engage the legs as well. But nobody's allowed to just crunch from the lower back here, yeah? It's all about lifting up through those abs. You can add an extra push up there if you are feisty. And come back to your downward dog. Legs all the way together. Looking forward at those arms. Are they really only as wide as your shoulders? Let's soften those knees. Keep your knees together. And lift and lower the body. Lift your heels and then bend your ankles, bend your knees. Puppy. And up to your downward dog. Keeping that centered position. Slide your right leg back. Just a little way. Don't make it way up in the air yet. Bend your standing leg and wave this around. Now for our mystery of the day, is this action, if it is firing up the question earlier from a student, is it happening right in your hip flexor or is it happening a little bit to the outside, which would be tensor fascia lata? Yeah, so that's our question. When we get to check in two, you can tell me. Go for a little fun exploration. Do you notice that standing leg hip when you're closing your hips or opening your hips? And everything back down together to that center line, thighs together. Inhale, leg goes up. Exhale, thighs together. Inhale, curve, tuck forward, nose and knee, say hello. Exhale, shift your weight back, extend through those fingertips and lift the leg. Inhale. Exhale now, leg comes down. Inhale, tuck. 2 more times, pendulum. And step it in. Remember, curl up like a Halloween cat to make room for your foot to come through. Immediately squeezing to the center line to get those squared hips. Hands rise up. Pressing your hands together, drawing towards that center line, adducting your thighs. Shoulder blades down the back, ribs back together, abdomen together. Remember, for me, that straight back leg is the final detail. So put it off. So much more important for us to strengthen this core than to get a straight back leg, because that usually pops us into the lower back. I don't want you to do that. I want you to have strong core, strong pelvis. Go ahead and reach forward. Keep those hands touching, squeezing to your center line, pressing into the earth for support. Squeeze square. And shift forward. Awkward chair, draw your belly in, hands together. Sit down deep. Push that earth center, center, center to rise up. Good, good. Let your arms come out. Coming back to center. Standing on that right leg. Let's open up the leg. Open up the leg. Alright, let's just put our legs a little far apart. Hands on our pelvis here. And I want you to imagine that your pelvis is on a table. Nice flat table here. Yeah. And we're just going to slide that pelvis over and pull the legs together. Just back and forth. If you have a mirror or you can see yourself on your screen, give yourself a little visual feedback. If you don't have that, use your hands. Feel your pelvis with your hands by just gently laying your hands on the front of your pelvis. And notice what your body's habit is. Most of us, when we do this for the first time, will do something like lifting to get our weight over. Yeah. We want instead to practice centering to get our belly button over the standing leg. Shift. Belly button all the way over the standing leg. Yeah. And that same action of adduction will keep our knee forward. Draw our other leg to it. Yeah. Shifting sides. All right, from here, I'm standing on your right leg. Open your left to your tree. Bust up A, bust up B, bust up C is below the knee. We never put it on the knee. Remember, because knees only go forward and backwards. So when your knee is up high, especially, that often tilts your pelvis, yes? So I want you to refine that centering by squeezing those thighs towards each other. Drawing your belly button in to lengthen the tailbone down so we have a nice long flat back. Let's rise up. Arms, hands touch each other in the sky. And imagine that center line. Through my hands, through my third eye, through my nose, through my heart, through my belly button, and then instead of on the inside of that leg, it goes through the center of the knee and the ankle. Go ahead and reach your arms out, grab this thigh. Bust up A is grabbing high up on the thigh and just extend the leg low. Drop that hip down. It's like this. If you're not sure, shake your booty in the air. Drop the hip down and stretch out that way. Pull your belly in. This action of centering in the belly counterbalances the weight of the leg, and it is definitely not straight to the side. In the video, it looks like it's out to the side. It's not. Let's check me out from the side. Where's that leg? Whoosh. It's practically 45. Yeah? Let's shift side. We'll come back to spider, so don't be sad. If you didn't get to put your leg up high yet and you want to try higher, we'll come back. Open and close. Yeah? Put your finger in your belly button. It's yours. Nobody minds. Get that lid. And pull it over the center of your standing foot. Yes. Find your Yeah, so when I lift this leg up, I lifted my hip up, my belly button went towards the leg, and now I'm going to close all of that back together. Belly button, foot, knee, center of the foot. abdominal wall supporting your lower back. And arms breathe in and out. Shoulder blades anchor down the back. Let those arms float up and anchor your shoulders down. Release those hands. Find your thigh. Send that leg out. So you're just extending from where your thigh is. Hips are still sinking over so that your belly button's over your foot. If anybody is a dancer, this is part of the way that you get those double a la seconde turns. Take it center. Shifting back to your right leg, knee open. Go ahead and grab the leg, everybody, and sit that butt down behind you even more. So as my knee comes up, my butt goes down, and I'm just going to pull up. Yeah. Move it forward to your center line. Center, squeezing your hips closed. Move the thigh out to the side. If you have a strap and you want to do this even lower, you can do it with a strap. I better grab a strap next time. Yeah, so we could be here, strapping it up. But as opposed to just moving my thigh, I want you to feel this feeling of squeezing, locking, centering your hips down. Yeah. All right, from wherever you are. Bus stop A, strap. B, thigh behind the knee. C, calf. D, ankle, heel, toe. Hips down. Extend that leg forward on the diagonal, just where it goes to. Now press support into your standing leg and center hips close. Bring that foot back. Shift. Lift it up. All right, so now your right leg's up. Find those hips first. Leg to the front, leg to 45. Leg to the front, squeeze your adductors. So you're really pulling that working leg's hip towards the inner thigh of the standing leg. And find your extension. This pose is called spider. Hip stays down, don't lift the hip, don't straighten the leg just because you think you're getting higher. This straightness in your body, this T shape, is more important. Bring it back home. And walk it out. All right, if your mat is currently facing your head towards the screen, take this moment now to turn it sideways because we're going to work on our mat sideways for a moment. And go ahead and check in number 2. Those of you following along at home. All right, so I'm curious to hear whether you guys were comfortable working on keeping your hips in place and centered, or whether you were tempted to try and get that leg up higher just for the satisfaction of getting that leg up higher. Yeah? It's good sometimes to do a little bit of both, especially if you are used to taking a studio dance class. They're going to push you to get that leg high. But if you get the leg high without working on gaining that strength of pulling together, you won't be able to hold your balance. So in yoga class, we want to think about holding that strength, and then we can work on the flexibility on top of that. Okay. So, your mat's sideways. If you have a brick, you can use a brick. Remember, the brick's only function is to bring the floor up to your hand, yes? So we're going to start with parallel legs, knees and toes forward. Shuffle it down a little bit. And just, let's do that same action we did standing, but now with bent legs. Feel what it feels like to slide perfectly sideways with that pelvis. And then take a moment here, my legs are bent, and we're just gonna rock it cat-cow style. And you can even sit down a little more and rock it. I'll turn sideways so you can see. Rock it cat-cow style. Yeah. Let yourself enjoy this. Let yourself get a little weird. Nobody's watching you. I like to feel the difference between really like tucked in and forward. Pelvic floor is squoze and belly's in. And then you can flip it out and you can almost feel like you're trying to like pull outward with your glutes and external rotators and like spread your pelvic floor back there and then tug it back in, right? Because we want to be able to control those muscles. We want to be able to, what's a better word than control? We want to be able to consciously activate those muscles. Okay, find your vertical pelvis. Your belly is gently engaged, and I want you to squeeze inward. Now, notice I'm not saying squeeze inward, drop your knees inward like we're doing in Charleston, but instead, just create that tension with your adductors. If you're not sure, feel them. Push out with your hands a little bit. There's softness of tissue, especially if you are a woman. This is our breast milk creation tissue. It's supposed to be there. Yes, give it some honor. Squeeze it in. Make sure your knees and toes are still forward. And let's come to a flat back. So if you are working with a brick and you want to take it a little more easy, you can put a brick under your hand or under both hands for this next part. I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to squeeze. I'm creating that inner thigh tension. As I squeeze, I begin to lengthen the legs and spread out. So it's a drawing together, supporting down, drawing together in my belly, supporting down in the back, radiating out through the arms and head. Simple position. It's okay if your knees are a little bent. If your hamstrings are tight, that's fine. I'd rather have a flat back with an engaged ab. But it's going to create all kinds of heat. Need to take a break? There's a little break here, that's fine. Flat back, abs in, thighs squeezing. Find your breath, friends. I know we haven't talked about breath all day. Squeeze those legs together like you're going to just scoop up your mat with your feet. All right, everybody let it go. If you have a brick here and you can put your head on it, just be a noodle. If you don't have a brick here, it's okay. Drop your head. Go ahead and press into the floor. You can come up on the brick if you need to. If you can stay down. So I'm kind of in like a, let's go into a wide angle downward dog. And now I'm going to feel those same inner thighs start to stretch because I'm down here in wide angle and opening my pelvis and my tailbone. Instead of it being tucked down, I'm going to lift it up to that diagonal. I'm going to walk my hands with you to the feet if possible. Place them down between your paws. And look at your elbows. Just stretch. What else can you let go of here? Walking your hands forward. Hop those legs together. Whee, that was fun. Take your knees down to the floor. Try and think about what order to do this in. Let's go ahead and step through now. Yes, so we're on our backs with our knees tucked in. We're going to send our legs up. If you want to add a little more challenge to all of this, you can lift your shoulders up, but let's stay focused on abs down. And I want you to bring your thighs close to your chest so your tailbone rises just a little bit, yeah? So a little bit at like 1 millimeter of space under your butt. Squeeze those legs together. Pull your pelvic floor into your belly button. And then arms up together. Shoulders on or off the floor, your choice. Keep your booty off the ground. Centering. Send your left leg away. Look at that line between the legs and keep it visually touching, and then switch. So we're just drawing this pane of glass, yes?
little walk. Uh-oh, I lost my booty onto the floor. How about you guys? Lift it back up. Slow motion. Notice as you go how your legs kind of want to do this little they just want to go out to the side. So hold on to that tension in the center. Hold on to that fire. And rest your chest, arms out to the side, knees all the way close to your chest. Let that open out into that wide position just like you were standing on the floor before. Now rotate your knees to the side like a frog and parallel and side, parallel and side, parallel. Take to the side so your heels are pointing towards each other and your knees are pointing out, and we're going to bring our heels together like a leprechaun, just jumping up into the air over a pot of gold and going quick. Yeah, happy little green elf. Knees stay apart. If you're not sure, put your thumbs on your kneecaps and keep them pointed out. Thigh squeeze. Extra layer here. Squeeze your pelvic floor and lift your tailbone off the ground as you bring your heels together. And together and lift. Lower slowly if you can. Keep checking those knees are out. Feeling those adductors work. And go ahead and rest. And we're going to come back up onto our feet. Boop. And now, scoot your feet even wider. If your mat is slippery, try to find an unslippery spot or dry your feet off. If you have a brick and you want to bring the floor up to you in any way that feels comfy, that's fine. Yeah? All right, so our legs are parallel. And we're going to walk our hands through our feet again. And then find your edge here. So if you're maxed out and you're here, as long as you're feeling the stretch in your inner thigh, your back of your thigh, you're good. Yeah? Find a wide place. See if you can get your head down. And notice you might need to come up a little more to get your head through a little more. Big inner thigh stretch. And everybody stretch one wrist, or both wrists, or one and then the other. So many options here, guys. Have fun. Okay, bring your feet, please, halfway back home. Yeah, so you're wider than your hips. We're going to place our hands about a foot forward of the feet and then shoulder width apart. Heels of the hands down on the floor. If that's way too far away, you can bring it up for now. And I want you to just practice squeezing, centering those elbows together and bending and straightening. Up. Yeah, so if you're working with a brick, our focus is to bend and straighten the arms, elbows back. Yes? All right. Bend your legs, everybody. Can you be a frog? I wish this were called the frog. It should really be called the frog, right? And bring your knees closer and drop your buns so that your thighs are hugging your arms. Yeah? Just like a frog on a lily pad. So my knees are quite wide. Knees and toes are pointing out on this angle in the same direction as themselves. Hands are forward, hugging yourself in. Yeah, so my inner thigh is hugging the outside of each arm. And I'm creating that tapas heat by centering my thighs in against those arms. So I'm really hugging my arms with my thighs. So someone asked previously, there was a crow exercise where the teacher, there's sort of two ways to do crow and crane. Somebody was talking about how it can be really uncomfortable to put your knee into the back of the arm in the crow pose. That's true. It's uncomfortable. Some people put it all the way in the armpit. still uncomfortable, but it gets easier with practice. I think because your core lifts more of your weight. So today we're not doing that. We're gonna hug the knee against the arm, as opposed to placing it into the back of the arm. Yeah? That tension of squeezing your legs in, plus your cat, Halloween cat action of pulling your core in. Can you do both of those things at the same time? And perhaps come up onto your balls of your feet, lifting your heels off the ground? Yeah? If you're working with your brick today, that might just look like this. This is a lot of work, guys. Don't scoff at it. It's a lot of work. Create that tension. Now, here's another bus stop. You got a brick, but you can put your hands down and do the squat. We're gonna squeeze up and in. We're gonna put the crown of our head on our brick. Now, just for an experiment, make it a little lower. Squeeze those arms and legs together. Anchor your shoulders back, curl your tummy in. And really, like, putting this brick here in front of you as a goal can make, by bringing the floor to your head, it can make it a lot less scary to experiment with inverting or going upside down. Yeah, so find something that feels right for you. And this is all about squeezing together. And if you want to switch to knees to the back of your arms, you can. If you want to switch between the two, you can. But remember, this is all about pulling your belly in, pulling your knees together. Come back out to your child's pose. Flip those wrists over. If you have a brick, you can rest your head on your brick. Feels really nice. Actually, putting your head on a brick is a nice alternate way to get your hips closer to your heels in a child's pose. If you're one of those people like me where your hips don't go down automatically with gravity. Really stretch those wrists. And we're gonna flip our buns to the floor. And we're gonna find the same position. But now I'm gonna let my knees open back. Yeah? Boop, boop, boop. This is super tight. You have a brick. You can sit on a brick. Or you can sit on your buns. Let your knees open out. Bent legs, everyone, please. Look, it's where we were on the floor. Yeah? That's the position. Lifting up through that core, reaching forward. As you come forward, your legs will likely try and roll internally. I want you to hold them back. Hold those knees so they are pointing up or behind you. And find your breath. This is a big adductor stretch, yeah? Straight legs are not the most important part. The most important thing in this stretch is to feel your adductors opening out. And I do put a little fist underneath my knees to keep them just a little bent because I find I get a deeper stretch in the center of the muscle by lifting my knees just slightly, yeah? If you feel your knee has a little twist or pressure into it, I find that it helps me to flex the foot here, as that sort of reminds my body to keep the knee and toe in line, but that might just be a me thing, but you're welcome to try it. If you're a dancer, you've been taught to always point. Both are fine. Have their own purposes. Come back to your breath. Roll it back up. Bend those knees. Find either your thighs and your upright body and try and extend one leg and the other. Centering, lifting through the core. All right, here's bust up A. Bust up B version. If you're super tight, you might have a foot on the floor and be reaching out this way. Yeah. Find your center. CDE. Remember, our goal today is center, so pull your pelvic floor in, pull your abs in, anchor those shoulders down. Really anchoring your shoulders down is what keeps you from falling backwards, because it activates all the muscles of your spine. Bring it back together. Soles of your feet together and rest. Now you're going to have a choice. Coming back onto your back. Find your bound angle position on your back and come back to that happy baby pose. So we were here before. Now I have my elbows on the inside of my knees. And that helps me to rotate my thighs out, yes? All right, so your choice is find a place where you can hold this and center. Yeah? Actually, let's all take our legs down together first. That'll be your bus stop A option, is hips on the floor. Bus stop B, we're going to bring those legs together. We're going to rock awake the hips. Your hip flexors might be feeling tight. Mine are. So I'm waking them up. Cat, cow with the back. And then legs together today. That's tricky. Roll up into your bridge. And roll back down. Just warming it up. And roll it up. Really thinking about peeling each vertebrae off the ground up to your shoulders and placing them down top to bottom, one at a time, vertebrae back on the floor, arch. Squeeze those legs together, up, bridge, legs together, take it down. Release. Back. All right, knees to your chest, friends. Open them up. Open those thighs up into a nice V shape. Here's your bus stop A. Knees bent, tailbone long. Yeah? Extend out. Your next option is to bring your feet together. Everybody looks like a frog. And you're either going to just unfold back into this location again, or we're going to add together that hip rise that we had earlier. I'm grabbing my pelvis and I'm going to find a V. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. Grabbing my hips, long neck. This is obviously bust up C or more. I feel like my hips are not high enough today. When we're doing anything with your hips up and your shoulders down, please keep your nose and chin pointed straight at the ceiling. Centering to open. Back together. Wherever you are, let's all put our hips back on the floor and squeeze those legs back together. Find center. Press your hands out. Squeeze those legs together. Bring your knees to your chest. Squeeze your thighs down into your chest to rest. Squeeze your thighs together, center line. Squeeze your heels to your buns. Squeeze your knees to your shoulders and your shoulder blades down. Let's be the tiniest little ball we can be. Pelvic floor, abdomen, shoulders. And let it go. Still holding on to your legs. 2 more times. Big breath in. Center everything in. Squeeze legs together.
pelvic floor, belly in, shoulders down. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And let go, but hold on to your legs. One more time. Pelvic floor, belly in, thighs together, heels to buns, knees together, tailbone curls, nose to knees. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Then release. Hold your legs to your chest. Gently hold onto your knees and lower your heels to the earth. Taking your hands to your hips, press one hip and then the other into the mat gently. Let your eyes close and really just feel yourself, your pelvis twist on the axis of your center line. And go ahead and bring your thighs together, your knees together, your heels together, and slide your legs part way out, just halfway. Holding onto that center line with your eyes closed, and draw in your mind that space that you're squeezing against between the balls of your feet, between your heels, between your knee bones, your thighs, your belly button. When you get to your belly button, can you feel if your spine under your lower back is arched away from the floor or if there's pressure into it? And take a big breath in. Exhale and pull, anchor down your belly button towards the mat. Opens your hip flexors a little bit, but it does take more work in this position. Big breath in. Spread your ribs and then exhale. Pull your rib cage down. Now your abdomen feels really compressed. Hold on to that squeeze, creating fire in the belly. Lifting up in the pelvic floor. Rechecking your thighs, abdomen tight. And then take those arms to namaste and press in with your hands, press down with your shoulder blades, create even more compression. Find your breath here, 5 breaths, compressing in. Exhaling through that throat lock. Squeeze till it quivers. If your lower back is coming off the floor, bring your heels in a couple of inches to give yourself a little bit less challenge. Heels, thighs, belly button, pelvic floor, lower back, shoulders, chest, throat. One last breath cycle. And with this exhale, let it all go. Let your hands release outwards. Let your thighs flop to the floor. Feeling complete softness, and just enjoy being a pool of pancake batter. Gently bringing yourself back into your body. Sneaking your legs back in and roll to your side. Center one last time. Gather up and in that breath. Letting your namaste hands gently touch your heart with your thumbs. Going forth into your day with this feeling of centeredness, strength,